Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. I'm excited that we're here for our next guest for a couple of different reasons. I love it when our guests have not only benefited from making a transition, from changing their lives, from actually deciding that, hey, this is the day and my life is going to be different moving forward. But it's always interesting to me to talk about the story behind what inspired that and not just inspired the change, but what came next. I think for many of us, when we have this transformation, when we go vegan, when we go plant based, what happens is a light bulb goes off in us and we're like, I got to share this secret. I have to let other people know. I have to help others. And our guest today did the same thing. They said, you know what? Can I take this out? So, therefore, our guest is a motivational speaker. Our guest has created courses, does coaching, really has taken that next big step of helping others not only achieve the success that our guest has achieved, but also take people to that next level. So, for anyone out there that's trying to figure out what they're going to do next, if anyone out there who has made a major transformation in their lives and they're like, can I turn this into a business? Can I help other people? I really think this interview is going to inspire you. And for anyone out there who's already made that transition, you know how much we love to hear these stories. You know how much it's inspiring to hear how other people are walking the talk and helping the world change. So, without further ado, I want to introduce our guest, Olivier Mankondo. He's going to walk us through his story. Olivier, it's so great to have you here today with us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, Stephanie. I really, really appreciate that you give me the opportunity to be on your show and to share my story. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, why don't we dive in? So, before we kind of talk about what you're doing today, let's talk about that, the moment of change. Let's talk about when did you transition? And then I'm going to follow up with a question on what was the inspiration? What was the thing that said, I'm going to do it this time. I'm really going to get that done. So, give us the date and the time just so we have a little bit of an anchor, and then we'll go into what inspired it.
Yeah, so I made the change into plant-based nutrition. It was in 2016 because at that time my health was pretty bad. I was suffering from a lot of chronic diseases. And that's why I was just watching one day a program on YouTube, and there was an Indian yogi who suggested that by going plant-based, it was possible to reverse 70% of the chronic diseases. And because at that time, I've just said my health was not pretty good, so I just decided that I will jump into the wagon and try to see what will happen. And then I just did that. It was a certain Wednesday in 2016. And then I decided to go plant-based. I went cold turkey, which I don't recommend to people to do it, but I went cold turkey. And after that, it took me around 4 months to reverse all my chronic diseases. And after 9 months, I was able to lose 77 pounds and all my chronic diseases went away. And since then, it's been 8 years. I've not been sick a single day, and life is pretty good now.
Life does sound good. I mean, that is an amazing story to be able to turn around, chronic diseases. Because for a lot of people, they feel like they've been given kind of a sentence. You know what I mean? Like a person says you have A, B, and C, and it's almost like that's it. You're going to carry around this bag in a sense for the rest of your life, and the medications and blah, 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 everything that comes with it. So in that first 4 months, were you totally shocked? Or did you feel prepared? I know because everyone's a little bit different in the amount of research and also, how much they believe, will this work for me? Where were you on that spectrum?
Yeah, on that I didn't know if it were going to work. I've had no idea because just the guy that I was watching, because he's a spiritual guy and I was following him for a long time. So when he said it, I just trusted him. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. But I didn't know if it were going to work for me or not. But what happened is that the first week after changing my going plant-based, I had loads and loads of detox symptoms. So my situation even got worse because I was suffering from high blood pressure, lots of severe headaches and joint pain, and all these symptoms went worse. And even my family, they asked me to stop it. But I said no, because I've decided to go ahead, I will do that. And after a week, all these symptoms disappeared, and I started to feel a lot of mental clarity, a lot of energy and stuff like that. And from there, I went on, and my health kept going better and better. So, like I said at the beginning, I didn't know if it was going to work, but because I trusted the guy, that's why I said, okay, I will do it no matter what. So that was my mindset at that time.
And I'm so glad you pushed through, because I think for a lot of us, when we made the change, things did get a little bit worse, or things just got a little bit dicey because your body was making the adjustment. And in that adjustment period, it can be a little bit hard. It can be like, oh, what did I do? Oh, and family and friends
Yeah.
can put a lot of pressure on
Yeah.
us. So I
Yeah.
completely understand that. So once you've turned that 4-month mark and then you're starting to see those things kind of transition, sometimes what people say is, okay, I got the benefit. That's good enough. I'm going to go back to
Yeah.
what I did, but I'm going to just do what I did a little bit better. What kept
Yeah.
you on the path? Which kept you on the journey? What kind of allowed you to say, this is going to be a lifestyle commitment, as opposed to, just something I use to maybe get things in check?
Yeah, it's just because the way, even because I grew up in Africa, and at that time when I was young, I used to suffer a lot from malaria, which is a very dangerous disease. And if left untreated, after 5 days, you just die. It's given by the bite of a mosquito. And because I was had all these diseases, and even when I came to the UK, I started to I would say twice every year to have the flu and stuff like that. And the feeling of being sick was really, really bad. And I didn't like that. But when I went plant-based, I went vegan, all these symptoms disappeared. I didn't get sick anymore. And I said, okay, because in the past I used to be sick, I didn't like the feeling. And this will be my lifestyle. I wouldn't go back and start eating all the meat, all these things, because I want to be healthy. I want to feel all the time vibrant. And when I wake up in the morning, I have all my energy. I don't get sick anymore. And that's what kept me going. And I said, this is going to be my lifestyle. I'm never going to go back to the way I was feeling before. So that's what kept me on the track. And I decided that this is going to be a lifetime thing. It's not like you do that for, I don't know, 2 months or 3 months and then you revert back. No, I didn't want to do that, because the feeling of well-being is so empowering that I can't go back to my old way of eating.
I love that. I think that's a great quote. The feeling of well-being, really can
Yeah.
drive, drive us to change. Because I think sometimes, as we get older, we forget that feeling, because,
Yeah.
over time we've felt a little bit worse, a little bit worse, a little bit worse. So like our current state may be difficult, but we forget what it's like to feel healthy, to have those days, to have headache-free weeks and things
Yeah.
like that, because we've just adapted.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing I thought was interesting about your story is you talked about your weight loss, but you talked about your weight loss happening. It sounded like it happened a little bit later in the process. Is that what happened? Did you kind of started to lose weight after those 4 months, and that like like you said, 4 to 9 month range is when you started to lose weight, or just at the end of the 9 months is when you dropped the 77 pounds?
No, it started, in fact, when I started this change my lifestyle, I lost 11 pounds after 1 week. So it started right from the get-go. And that one was really, really surprised that after just a week, I was able to lose 11 pounds. So it went gradually. And then after 9 months, I was able to lose 77 pounds. It's only that when I spoke about 4 months, it's when, because I was suffering from high blood pressure, and the doctor told me that I'll be on medication for the rest of my life. It's just after 4 months, when I went to see him, then he told me that my high blood pressure was completely gone. And was done with no medication, because when he asked me to get on medication, I said no, even though I didn't know what I know now. But I said, no, I cannot go on medication for the rest of my life. So that's how it was. But the weight loss was gradual. But it started from, like I've just said, after a week, I already lost 11 pounds, and it went gradually until after 9 months, it was 77 pounds.
That is okay. That is great. And I love how the weight loss and the medication and all that stuff is kind of weaved into your story, because for a lot of people, they do sign up for the drugs. They just get nervous and they get worried. And I'm so glad that not only were you able to reduce it without the medication, I'm also glad that you checked in with your doctor. I think a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm just going to go do this thing. And you know what I mean? I think it's important sometimes that, you have those check-ins and checkups, just so that while you're doing it, you're monitoring it to just make sure it's headed in the right direction. Because, we do want people to be in this healthy track and take it, everybody's a little different. So we always got to make sure, people, are going at a pace that works for them. So I'm really glad to hear that you were also, leveraging doctors throughout the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, all right, so 9 months, change, transformation, weight loss, disease, reversal, all this going on. So at the end of 9 months, what was next? Like between then and when you started doing motivational speaking and so forth, did you start right away? Did you, at the 9-month period, say, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Like what happened in that 9-month period or right after that made you start to decide if you were going to do something with everything that you learned?
Yeah. So what's happened is that, like I said, my transformation started in 2016. And then I started, after my 9 months, I started to learn a lot. I started to watch lots of videos. I bought lots of books about nutrition, about plant-based. I started really to do my research. And then after, it was in 2018 that I decided that I wanted to become a speaker, to start talking to people. And because what I noticed is that for a lot of people, they think that when you grow up, when you get older, you need to be sick. But this was completely different with me, because when I started this plant-based nutrition, I was 46. Today I'm 54. And my health kept getting better and better. And what people need to understand is that being sick is a choice. And you don't have to be sick when you grow up. And because I was starting to see that my health was getting better and better, I said, okay, I'm going to start sharing that with other people, through friends and family and stuff like that. And that's why I said, okay, now what is the best way for me to do that? And I said, okay, I'm going to be a professional speaker and stuff like that. And what is really great is that in my entire life, I was very shy, very shy. And now that I'm a professional speaker, it's blew my mind, because this is something that I was unable to do. Just a small example, when I was in high school, from primary school to high school, for example, the teacher was explaining stuff, and if, for example, I didn't understand, for all these 12 years, I've never been able to raise up my hand and ask a question because I was so shy. Or, for example, if I was with people from my class and they were making comment, I was unable to make a comment because I was so shy. But today I'm a professional speaker. It's something that has really done a lot of change in me. So because I was really wanted to for people to know the truth, that's why I said, okay, I will put all my shyness apart, and then I'll just jump on it and do that. Yeah.
And that's a big thing, because a lot of people are like definitely afraid of talking, you know what I mean, in front of crowds and everything. And that's a huge accomplishment, to be able to kind of put that to the side and say this information is that important, that to be able to get it out there. And then also, I'm sure, and you can tell me if you agree with this, it's a very interesting experience when you have people in front of you and you can speak and connect with them, and you start to see like their head nod, you start to see them take a note, from something you're saying. And then even better, when people come back and say, hey, I heard you speak last year, or I heard you speak 2 years ago, and because of that talk, I did A, B, and C. That opportunity to help somebody, and for someone, when people come back to you and tell you, it's just mind-blowing, because sometimes we forget our own power. I don't know if this is maybe just me or if you feel it the same, but sometimes it's easy to forget how much you can just help people by sharing information and being there with them on their journey.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I went through, and it's very empowering when you can help people in that way. And when you are in front of people, you give them explanation and you can see that they've been transformed and all that. It's like, for example, it was 2 weeks ago, I went to back to because I'm from originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I went over there because my dad died. He died on the 19th of February, so I went to bury him. And when I was in the airplane, there was a woman who I didn't know, and she's starting to say, "Oh, I'm very happy with all the message that you're giving on the internet and all that. Thank you very much for that." And I was in the airplane, and this was wow. They know me, so yeah. Yeah, it's great when you can help people like that. Yeah.
That had to be a good experience, especially for the occasion that you're on. Sorry to hear about your loss, but it's an interesting experience where, like you said, you're on a plane and someone recognizes the work that you've done. Wow, that is impressive. That can definitely stick to you and help you do what's next. So let's break it down, because sometimes people who are listening to our podcast are getting started. Sometimes people who are listening to our podcast need some help and need some support because they're on a similar journey. So let's just walk through what you offer. So you do motivational speaking, you do one-on-one coaching, and you have online courses. Is it a course or a program? Let's just break it down so people have a clear understanding of what you offer.
Yes. So like I just said, because I was all this transformation really, really hit me. And then I said to myself that I was going to help people. So the first thing that I had in mind is to become a professional speaker. So I started to go and speak to people and all that. And then after the talk, they will ask me, "Oh, what can we do now? Or do you have anything else to so that we can continue the program with you, to be able to continue with you giving us advice and all that?" And I didn't have anything. And that's why even a friend of mine asked me, "Okay, if I want to change my way of eating, what should I do?" And from there, I said, "Okay, I'm going to create a course." So I created my course, which is a three-step weight loss and wellness program. And in the course, basically, it's people can follow that in 4 months. And that was the course. And after that, I thought to myself, okay, because a lot of people, when they buy a course, they just maybe watch a few lessons, and then after that, they just leave it and they don't do nothing about it anymore. But I wanted to have a greater impact on people, and that's why I said, how can I do that? And that's why I had the idea to do the coaching now, where I coach people on one-on-one, where I can get them accountable. And with that, you can have a greater impact, and you can transform really people with the coaching rather with the course. But the course is still there if people are interested, because obviously the coaching is more expensive than the courses. So for some people, it can be that they don't have enough money to be able to go on your coaching, and they will just buy the course. But for me to have a greater impact to really transform people's life, I said to myself, okay, I'll do the coaching as well. So that's how I was able to transition from the speaking, the course, and the coaching. But I do all the three of them at the same time.
Perfect. And then I also left out that you wrote a book. Sorry about
that. Yeah. So I read a book. I wrote a book as well. And because, like I said, I was really, really touched by the way of my transformation. And I said to myself that I wanted to put that in a format that people can be available for everybody. Because the course, the online course and the coaching program are more expensive, but the book, people will be able to get that really inexpensive. So in the book, basically it's got 4 parts. The first one, I talk about, I describe how human beings are herbivores, and to be more precise, they are frugivores. And in the second part, I talk about how the animal product, the dairy product, and the processed food, how they impact our lives, our health in a negative way. And then I talk in the third part, I talk about how my transformation, the way I was able to transform my life, to lose the weight, to reverse all my chronic diseases, and the way that for all these years I've not been able I've not been sick anymore, and I've been able to keep the weight off. And in the last part, I give people advice, tips and tricks, what they can do to be in good health and stay disease-free. That's basically in my book, in a nutshell, what I talk in my book.
Oh, that's good. Because I think sometimes people feel like, what did you like really do? Like I think for a lot of us, we don't realize that it's such a windy road when you start
Yeah,
to make changes and transformations, because we all start in these different places, and the things that are maybe a hurdle for you versus a hurdle for me may be different.
yeah,
And then also, like, what's a challenge for me, like on day one or week one, is totally different than that challenge hitting you 30 days in or even a year
yeah,
in.
yeah,
Is so a lot of times it's really interesting to hear people's stories and get into that detail, because you never know sometimes what's kind of lurking around the corner, because a lot of our habits and a lot of the reasons why we eat the way we eat, some of them are habitual, some of them are cultural, some of them are just the way we grew up, and some of them are just completely emotional. And when I say emotional, not just, I mean, people talk a lot about emotional eating, but I mean emotional, like their memories. There are people in our lives that we love, and like we made cakes together. You know what I mean? So when you make a
yeah,
cake, or when you work on that, do a cake or something, it's not even so much that, yes, I want to yum up all that cake. I mean, I love cake, but but I
yeah.
remember like eating cake with, or excuse me, making cake with my aunt. So therefore, it becomes a beautiful memory that sometimes you want to swim around in.
Yeah.
And when you move over to going plant-based, when you stop eating as much processed foods, what happens is you almost feel like you're abandoning that memory. You're
Yeah.
abandoning those relationships and those feelings. It's not just a food transition. And I think for a lot of people, that's one of the hardest parts.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people, when they, they 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 don't want to change, mostly because of the environment. So the environment need to be really, really conducive for you to change. For me, for example, I was blessed when I made the transition. My family and all that, they supported me, and that's why it was possible for us to do that. And in my family, all of us, my kids and all that, we've been able to become plant-based. But for other people, it's very difficult, and especially if, for example, if you go to a party and stuff like that, you see your friends, they're eating differently, and it's become very, very difficult to really stick to that. And like you've just said, it's more cultural and stuff like that. So it's a little bit challenging when you have to go in that way, and especially for us, we are usually the minority, and it's really difficult to stick to that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, One other thing I want to talk about is, what you know now versus then. And the reason I bring that up is, for a lot of us, we wish we could tell our younger self things that we know now that we didn't know then. Is there anything that you would want to share with our audience, as someone who's maybe sitting around right now and they're struggling? Anyone who's sitting around right now and even tried to go plant-based 3 times before, and this happened, that happened, all the different things that do happen. Is there any kind of inspiration or recommendation you would have for them, that now, that if you had known, maybe you would have gone even sooner, or might even made your transition a little bit smoother?
Yeah. So what I will tell all these your audience, your listeners and viewers, is that they don't have to be hard on themselves. They need to take baby steps instead of just wanting to go and do that all the way. Because a lot of people, when they start that, maybe they say, okay, I'm going to go cold turkey. They do that for a week, and then they find that they cannot do that, and they just stop. What they have to do, they have to do small changes. For example, for your breakfast, instead of eating all these bread, eggs, bacon, and all that, you can just introduce a small change and say, okay, I'm going to eat fruit, for example, or I'm going to eat, let's say, a toast with peanut butter. You just introduce that, and for the rest of your meal, you continue to eat just the same way. And then maybe after a couple of weeks, you say, okay, normally I eat meat 7 days a week. Now I will eat that 5 days a week, and for 2 days I'm going to eat plant-based. So you just introduce small changes like that, and then your body get accustomed to all these changes, and all this will be you'll be able to do that in a smooth way. But for example, for me, I went cold turkey. And that's what I had lots of detox symptoms. And for most people, they just stop. They say, okay, this is not working. And they go back to the old way of eating. But if you go slowly, you do small changes, I think this will make you'll be able to do it in a better way instead of just rushing. And when you do that, you take baby steps, you will just notice, oh, now for maybe 5 days, I'm not eating meat, just only 2 days. So that's how you do that. So basically,
Absolutely.
that's the advice that I will give to people if they are just starting, and to take baby steps and not to blame themselves if they fall off the wagon, and just to
Yes.
pick themselves up and to continue with that. That's what I
Yeah.
will give them as advice.
No, I think it's great advice because I think for a lot of us, we try to do too much too fast. And then
Yeah.
sometimes we get overwhelmed by the change, the amount of change. What do I have to eat? What do I eat? I don't have enough in the house, all
Yeah.
those things. And it just
Yeah.
becomes, overwhelming to even do, and overwhelming sometimes to meet these like huge expectations that we can
Yeah.
sometimes create for
Yeah.
ourselves. So I love the idea of doing that transition plan. Same thing when you
Yeah.
started your business. Same thing happens when you start speaking and creating coaching practices and all these things. Were there any big ahas or surprises when you made that leap over, that you were like, whoa, I didn't realize this is going to be as hard as it is, or whoa, this was easier than I thought to do coaching, to build a course? Which, I don't know, which side of the spectrum did you end up in when you made that leap as well?
Yeah, basically for me, I thought that, okay, I created my program, I created my coaching, and I thought maybe that people will just come to me. But I was really mistaken, because there was a lot and a lot to learn. I had to learn marketing, I had to learn sales, I had to be able to conduct sales coaching and stuff like that. So it was something that I didn't even know that existed. So for me, I thought that I would just do my course and it would be easier. But this was really, really surprising. And that's why I had to even to learn how to drive people to my website, drive people to my offers. So it was really a big learning curve. So I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared for that. It came as a surprise, because you launch you do your course, you put that on the internet, and no one buys it. So it was a little bit surprising, but I've learned all this thing. And for people who would like to go on the business, they will have. If I had to start again, what I will do is that I will go straight away and buy a course or a coaching to someone who has already done it before, instead of trying to do that myself. So that's really what I've learned through that experience that I've gone through.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how, and I think we've all been there, where we've created a course or we've created a product
Yeah.
and we're like, okay, great, it's out there. Here you go. And it's like, where is everyone?
Yeah.
Just because it's such a different part of the process of just creating the content, the marketing,
Yeah.
the even customer support, setting up websites, all that stuff can be
Yeah.
can be a lot. How long did it take you to launch? Meaning, did it take you 2 or 3 months, a year? How long before you decided that, yep, I want to do this. I want to do motivation speaking. I want to do a course. Did it take you a long time to get the business started, or was it something that felt kind of natural and you just flowed into it?
Yeah, so normally I had the idea in 2019
Mhm.
it was in May 2019 that I decided that this is now going to be my job, to
Mhm.
do speaking and all that. But at that time in 2019, it was just the speaking part. I didn't have any course or any coaching and all that. And then I gave my first talk. I think it was in 2019, in December 2019,
Okay.
my first talk. And then
Mhm.
in 2020, we had the lockdown. We had the
Yes.
lockdown with the COVID and all that. And for me, at the beginning, I thought that we would just, it would be maybe 2 months or something like that, and then we'll go back to normal. But it took 2 years, and was for those 2 years, I didn't know what to do. I was just like that. And then it's just in 2021 that I said, okay, Olivier, you cannot stay like this. You need to do something. And that's why I starting to say, okay, I will now create a course. and sell that and all that. And after that, in 2021, that I started that. But it's only last year that I officially created my company. So before that, I was just learning, and it's only in February 2023 that I really made my company official. So it's only been a year that I've been doing all this. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Well, congratulations,
Yeah.
because
Thank you.
that is a big, big, big accomplishment. And I think, it's similar what you were saying about the transition. Now none of us could have known what was going to happen with the pandemic and how it was going to affect all
Yeah.
of us. But you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Trying different things, testing different things, and walking your way through it is really key, I think, in any transformation. And it's just wonderful to see that you've taken a personal victory, a personal accomplishment by going plant-based and being able to turn that, like you said, into a job, into a career, turning it into something, that can become financially viable and also something that allows you to help other people. So I think that is great. And I think that is amazing. And I'm so glad we had a chance to catch up with your story. I'm really thinking that your story today is going to inspire some other people out there who are making the transition, have made the transition, and maybe are feeling a little bit shy about sharing it with the world. I think sometimes it's hard to feel like, can I be the authority in the room? I just figured this out, or I
Yeah.
didn't know for all
Yeah.
these years and I just figured it out. Can I really be that authority in the room? And I think for a lot of people, hearing that you've done it, hearing that you've made that transition, I'm hoping inspires more and more people to make that leap over to, running a business, being an entrepreneur, and using their experience to help others.
And what I would like to add quickly as well is that even though COVID was something which was not good for all of us, but what I've learned is that to always, in any bad situation, to always look at the positive. And for example, if COVID didn't happen, I think I would have been just a speaker. But now with COVID, I was able to develop my course. I was able to develop my coaching program. So now I've got 3 streams of income just because of that. So people need to always look at the good side of, if even something happened which is bad, just try to look at the good side of that stuff which is which appear to be bad. Yeah, so that's what
Absolutely.
I
Now,
wanted to add as well.
no, I'm so glad you added that because that is so true. I think sometimes we can just see the clouds above us
Yeah,
and we're just like, oh, and we forget that, beautiful things can come out of sometimes these, hard moments in our lives.
yeah,
So yeah, I think there's a lot of people where, that time gave them time to think, it gave them time to reassess. It gave them time to think about what they would do differently moving forward. So I agree. It's so important to have that attitude and also have that perspective as you move forward because, beautiful things are out there just as much as, as they say, like rainy days also
yeah,
produce beautiful flowers and produce all these beautiful things.
yeah,
So I'm so glad
exactly.
you mentioned that as well. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for being with us today. One quick thing, if people want to follow up with you, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do it? Website, social media, email? If so, if you can give them those details.
Yeah, so if people want to follow up with me, first of all, I would like to give your viewers or listeners, I would like to give them a free gift, which is my 7 tips to lose weight. This is the exact tips that I've used myself to lose 77 pounds. So I would like to give them free of charge. So I will give you the link, maybe if you can put that in the show notes. And then people can, if they want to buy my book, they can go on Amazon, they can get it. But if they buy that on my website, which is oliviermankondo.com, oliviermankondo.com. It's cheaper, and they will be able to have 4 bonuses as well. And they can also, if they want me to coach them, basically what they can do, they can go on my website as well. They can sign up for my weight loss and wellness discovery call, which is free as well. And on the free call, we will be able to see see why they got stuck, what's going on with their life, and if there's a good fit, then we'll be able to work together. So basically, if they go on my website, oliviermankondo.com, they will be able to find everything, the book, the coaching, and everything. Yeah.
Perfect. And we'll also have the link in the show notes. So if anybody's listening, anyone's watching, whether you're on our podcast or you're watching this on YouTube or any way that you get access to our Pivot podcast, definitely make sure you check out the link in the show notes, because that will get you everywhere you need to be so you can get the book, the coaching, and potentially even get the course. So Olivier, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your schedule to hang out with me, to talk about your story, and also for us to kind of get to know each other a little bit better.
Yeah, yes, it's me who wants to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your show, to give me the platform so that I can inspire people, I can share my story, so that people can see that it's possible for them to transform their lives and to become disease-free, because it really, really saddens me to see that people get sick all the time. But it's possible to live a disease-free life. And that's really, really what I want people to know, and to really put that in their mind, that it's possible to live a disease-free life. They just have to adopt a good lifestyle, and they'll be okay. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for leaving us with that thought. I think that's a great one that hopefully should resonate with many of our listeners, or any of our listeners who's sharing this podcast with somebody who needs to hear this message. So thank you, everyone. Anyone who watched us live, thank you as always for jumping in here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting us. If you're listening to this as part of our podcast and you have any follow-up questions, as always, just drop them in the comments, drop them in the notes, or email us at support@Vegan Mainstream, and we will make sure that we get those questions answered to you via our guest, or if we can provide you the answer, we will make sure we get it over to you. So thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you in our next interview. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.